It's that time. Welcome to Chat with Charlie. All right. Welcome back to another edition of Chat with Charlie, powered by Keiser University. As you can see, my co-host isn't here. He's busy doing other things. So now it's Chat with Charlie and friend, because I can't be plural. I usually have an S at the end, but I got no friends now. So it's got to be friends.
I'm right. That's why I'm here.
Will you be the friends?
Yeah,
All right, we're back to plural, back to Chat with Charlie and friends. And today we're going to talk to Coach Myles Russ, who is the head coach for Keiser University football. We're just going to talk a little bit about what the season's going to look like. But first, I got a couple questions for you. What's your go-to music? When you're getting ready, you got the game, right? It's not a playoff game, but you're like, I got to get in the mood. What are you putting in?
Oh man, I'm an old school. When I say old school, like millennial old school
Okay.
type of guy. So I can do Young Jeezy. It's something that kind of gets me going. One of my favorite artists is J. Cole. So
Okay.
I'm a little old compared to these young cats right now. With our
I
team.
understand what they're saying.
I can at least I think my genre is a little bit better
Okay.
in terms of kind of guys I listen to. But yes, I'll say Young Jeezy, J. Cole kind of gets me in the right spot
That's
a
your
little
music,
bit.
though.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
gets it going.
that gets me going. That gets me going. But I have a lot of different ways. So sometimes I get hyped right before the game. I'll put that on, and then when I just want to chill out and just kind of have an overview of what's going on, I put some gospel on as well.
Okay, get it.
So I'm a little bit everywhere.
Do you balance it though?
I do. Like I have a whole routine. Like, and this is coach's talk, but like everything's the same, as I go through. So when we get to the, spot, I like to relax, kind of go through the game plan, what we need to do. And then that's when I'm in my Miller mode, just put some gospel on, just kind of chill out. And then before we get to the field and, it's kind of start before pregame and get rolling, that's when I kind of turn it up a little bit more in terms of the different style
Interesting.
music.
You're structured there. You're very structured.
Yeah, pretty much.
So before we get into the season, talk to us and the viewers about what do you think about the structure of not
Yeah.
only the music you listen to, how you wake up in the morning, what you put in your brain, the mental
Yeah.
side, but also preparing your players so that they have a good routine. Talk to me a little
Yeah.
bit about
So
that.
I think that's just part of life. One thing that we really talk about as a program is just continuing to do the same things over and over to build to build that. So now it's not it's something new once they come to our program. So routine is very important for us, and I think it starts with myself of how we do things. And our day is pretty much structured out throughout the whole day.
Every minute,
Every
right?
minute,
5 minutes here,
yeah,
5 minutes here.
especially once we go to training camp, and I think that's when we can kind of build that upon each other. One thing we do as a program, every one of our players, it has to build their schedule for the whole week, and it goes
Interesting.
the entire from when they wake up to when they go to sleep, and they have to write down each everything hour by hour what they're doing, and then they present it to us as a staff, and then I have it. And that's another way that we can hold them accountable. So literally, Marlon Chad, one of our top cornerbacks, I have his schedule, on our Google Doc, and it can be 11 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock during the day, whatever it may be. He better be doing what he has written down. So like a schedule for our guys: 8 a.m. Wake up, go to breakfast. 8 to 9, go to breakfast. 9 to 10 might
Yeah.
have math class. 10 to 11 might have English. 11 to 12 you go into lunch. 12 to 1 you go into study hall. 1 to 2 you might have one more class on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. 2 to 7 you're going to be in football. So 2 to 3 you're in weightlifting. 3 to 4 you're in the defensive meetings. Four
Okay.
to 4:30 you're going to special teams. 4:30 to 4:45 you have taping. 4:45 to around 6:30 you have practice. 6:30 to 7 shower. 7 you have dinner. 8 o'clock you should be studying. 8 to 9 should be studying. 9 to 10 might be calling your girlfriend. 10 to 11 might be on the
Don't call
video
it before
game.
game time.
So we kind of, but that's usually we got to be structured in everything that we do, and be honest with it. I tell the guys, be honest with it, so we can know how we can maybe rearrange
Because if
what's
they're
going
not
on.
honest with you, you can't be
Yeah,
honest
we
back to them
can.
to
Yeah,
help them.
yeah, exactly,
Because you're
exactly.
not only you're not even preparing an academic scholar, you're preparing a man to some
No,
extent.
no, and I think that's part of coaching. That's part of what I'm in this thing for is to serve to really we're a direct impact of this next generation. I don't take it lightly, and I really it's so fun to see these guys come back. So now I've been in coaching long enough, and I see these guys come back and
Yeah.
really see how much they have grown. But we're trying to make them better
And I'm
men.
not talking growing
Yeah, yeah,
either.
I know.
He's
Yeah,
talking
and
off
so,
season.
sometimes I get on them from growing too much. But it's crazy. Usually it's the offensive linemen. They come back, they're skinny. They like the bigger guys. They don't have to be as big anymore, so they come back a little bit better off. And then some of the guys that were smaller, they come back a lot
They
bigger.
get a little
Yeah,
swole. They get a little spring.
yeah.
So you got the J. Cole thing. Do you find yourself kind of that barometer of energy that's needed? Either take it down, bring it
Yeah.
up, control.
Yeah, so I would say I always want guys to go through their routine and let them be themselves. So, but that's why, when I got in this position, my job is to find the pulse of the team, and on the field, off the field, to make sure they're aligning to where I feel is the best spot they need to be. So, yeah, I kind of evaluate guys, but I want guys to be themselves, have their own different way of
Because you're
doing
your own
things.
person.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I'm not the rah guy anyway. So I think I've been blessed enough to
I've
be
seen
in a
you a little
position.
hyped on the
Yeah,
sideline.
sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's just
You
be
just cheering on
yourself.
that rep.
Yeah.
You just cheering them
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
job, baby.
I just want the guys to be themselves. I think that's the biggest thing. But one thing that we always talk about, as a program, I want guys to play with emotion, but I don't want them to be emotional.
Controlled emotion.
Yes, yes. So,
Controlled
so,
emotion.
so because playing with emotion, you have control. But when you're emotional, you don't have control. The next man or somebody else or the circumstance has control of you, and that's
Yeah.
something that we really talk about a lot here. Of just be yourself, have emotion. If you have it, I don't want to tone that down, but we don't want anyone or anything that be able to control who you are and control your emotional status.
I
So,
love that.
so yeah, play with emotion, but don't be emotional.
Play with emotion, but don't be a man. I gotta tell myself that a lot.
Yes.
So before we get into the season, let's talk about incoming freshmen. Like you're a rising junior,
Yeah.
rising senior in high school, or even for the parents out
Yeah.
there. What's some advice you can give them that you've seen over the years coaching these young cats coming in that
Yeah.
can help them be more prepared for the field?
It's funny you asked. One of my former classmates in college. She messaged me and she has some young kids and kids growing up. And I played with her husband at Robert Morris.
Yeah.
And I just want them just to be kids first of all. Like as you go higher in this thing, it's more business like. It is what it is. But to not put too much on them, just be a kid. Play as many sports as possible. So many different. I learned so much from my basketball coach as much as I've learned from any
A
other
lot of
coach. Like yeah,
position people have.
so like be able to be a kid and and have fun. As a parent, I would say just hold your kids accountable in everything that they do. And so now once they come to college, they've been held accountable. So now the transition is a little bit more easier. It's going to be a transition. It's going to be tough. We're going to work on. But I've seen young men that have come that they haven't been held accountable as they needed to be.
Mhm.
So now once they're finally held accountable in everything in their life, not just football, but
Grades,
great.
external life,
So
all that.
yeah, it's a transition. It's a transition
It's tough
for
for some.
yeah, and that's our job. Our job is to get them prepared. But I would say the transition is a lot easier when they have a little bit more structure coming into this thing. But again, back to us. This is our job to get them prepared, get them ready, so they can take that next step in life.
Yeah.
But I would say for those incoming juniors, seniors, um, you know definitely take care of the grades. Definitely, just be just a good human being, man.
Because there's
It's
so
like it's
many
just
athletes too. There's
yeah,
so many
yeah,
athletes, and I know, when you look at, they always ask grades first.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think a lot of coaches want
yeah,
to know where you're at grade
yeah,
wise.
yeah. So I would say this, it is what it is. You're being judged before we even see you,
Mm.
right? So like, it's not a coincidence that guys with higher grades, they usually last longer. They usually have the capabilities of being held accountable and doing certain things because you just don't get straight A's.
And you can
Like
budget your time
yeah,
too.
yeah, it's time management, the whole deal. So I'm not saying you get straight A's, you're automatically going to be this great person, great player, but it's certain qualities that you have to be able to do that.
And I
So
bet you can see that pattern of behavior too,
yeah,
but I would imagine, the weight room's important, sleep's
yeah,
important, eating right's important. Yeah, those things, because some people just have raw talent,
yeah,
even in high school.
yes, yes,
They just had raw
yeah,
talent,
yeah,
but then they start to catch up, and then college they're like, okay, wait a minute, I got to
yeah.
take that raw talent and be
Yeah,
taught.
because everybody's good. In college,
Yeah,
that's why you're taking that next step in your profession or what football, whatever it may be. You can't just look at yourself like, hey, I can get away with this because at a certain point, it's not going to be enough. At a certain point, you're going to have to take that next step of
yeah.
eating better or being in the weight room a little bit longer or whatever it may be to get that edge because and that's one thing I talk to our guys. Like, you're not competing against the man next to you. You're not competing against the guy, in the conference. A lot of our guys have big dreams. You're competing against the world.
That's right.
And you can't have that mindset of like, I can beat this guy. This no, man. You need to work understanding that you're going against
And
the
your
rest of
place in time.
the. Oh
There's some
man.
late bloomers,
Oh
their
yeah,
senior year
yes.
of college, different than their
Yeah,
freshman year
yeah,
of
yeah.
college.
And everybody wants that specific spot. Everybody wants that, and it's but I love it. That's part of life. It's competition. Is understand, try to be your best, and trying to execute so you can do that.
No, I love that. And you're teaching them something along
Yeah,
the way. Again, it's making them a man
yeah,
first to me than it is than anything else. So
yeah,
tell me this too. I had someone ask me and wanted me to ask you this. When you look at tape or whoever your recruitment group is that's looking at tape, what are you looking for? Are you
yeah,
just looking for those 5 plays where I
yeah,
did it? Are
yeah.
you looking for the 5 plays where I picked myself up and then had a great play next? Like what can you do as a young athlete with technology
Yeah.
now to help see who that person is?
Yeah, so that's a loaded question because
It
we talked
is.
we talked about just being a good person, understanding. So also I'm gonna get back to the tape piece,
Yeah,
but all of our coaches are I have a great we have a great coaching staff
you
here,
do.
and so it starts with them to be able to try to get in all the tape that we're getting. So we're out at these different high schools and we're trying to get as much tape as possible. We always looking for the incoming senior because we're always that kind of transitions a lot easier for us. We're not too early in the process,
Yeah.
so start there. But we talk to every single coach. So if we like a guy, we're going to get more in the tape piece of it. But if we do like a guy, I want to know what kind of person he is. What is he a leader or something? I want to know that. See to make sure that he would transition well with our program. It's
Because
specific guy.
culture is important.
It's very
It's not
important.
just that
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
good.
yeah. Like when we play, a lot of teams that we play, they're as good as we are, or even better. Like that next step, that culture and what you have, that's what gets you to where you need to get to as a
Yeah.
program. So I'm gonna start there. So we really want to be in tune of who we're getting as a person, how good of a teammate they are, if they're a leader, if they're not a leader, what's some things that they do to help their team off the field. And so
The
then,
locker room guy
yeah,
too,
yes,
like building
yes.
them up.
I'm not trying to, it's my job to protect our locker room. Like,
Yeah.
that's the most important thing to me is
That'll
our
make or
locker room.
break when they
Yeah,
come out
yeah,
that
yeah.
door.
So I want to make sure the guy that we're bringing into our locker room is a good fit for us and, our guys. And all it takes is, one bad apple to, go in the locker room and now you start to lose the locker room. It's not where it needs to be. So that's very important for us in this program of the type of person that we're getting. Now, as we go, everything is position specific. So
Sure.
We have position coaches. I allow them to really look at the tape. They know what we're looking for as a program in terms of, maybe a running back. We like a running back and that can do a lot of different things, not just run the
More
football, but
versatile.
he can do it all. You're gonna have to protect the quarterback. I want to see some pass
You mean, wait a
protection.
minute, running back's got a block?
I know.
You
I
kidding
yeah,
me? They got a block too?
yeah. I wasn't. I and I have to say that because I'm not the biggest guy, but coming out of high school, I wasn't like the blocking type of like trying to block, linebackers. I didn't have to. I wasn't didn't have to do that as much in high school. But
Yeah.
once I got to college, like that's how you play.
Yeah.
You better,
Especially you're slinging the ball a lot. You gotta be blocking.
Yeah, so you got to protect the quarterback, one of the most important positions on the team, and then you still have to be physical enough to run the ball 20 to however many times you need to. You still need to catch the ball out the backfield. So we're looking for guys that can do it all. But I also tell guys I want to see who they are right off the tape. If you say, "Hey, I'm a physical running back," I better see that physicality on that tape. Hey, coach, I'm the fastest guy on the field. I better see you running away from guys. On
Hear
the
those
tape.
words.
Yeah. Exactly. So I think that's really big for us of just knowing exactly what we want to look for. In every different position, is different. Obviously, we just talk about the running backs, but
Then
we have
receivers got to block
yeah,
too.
yeah, they got to block on the perimeter.
They don't just have to have good hands.
Routes and if you are a smaller receiver, you better be a guy that can make guys miss, and so we can know where we can fit you. A part of our program, and then the defensive wise, the same thing.
Yeah.
If you're that bigger corner, you better be very physical on the point of attack. You might be a guy that might not be a man technique guy, but someone that can play very zone and get your hands on and be able to do some things on the perimeter. So we depending on what we're looking for, we want guys to show that on film
because they're part of a team.
Exactly.
They're part of a team, a strategy. I know a cat, and tell me what you think about this. I know a guy who was 2 on a depth chart, and the only reason he got recruited to the collegiate level was because how he performed in practice. Because he gave it all. So you never know what a coach may see in you for later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got to be the whole package.
And to that point, you don't have to coach that. You don't have to coach
You can't teach that.
You can't teach it, can't coach it. So if you can bring that on a continuous basis and an everyday basis, that you can really get other guys seeing that and and being able to jump on his jump with him in terms of this effort, and that's what you want as a program. So
especially with your coaching staff.
Yes, it's very impactful for us.
So let's get into next year. How's it looking? What you feeling? How's that entering class coming in? How's the gaps being filled?
Yeah, I'm excited. We have a brand new team every year.
You told me that. I still think that every year
we got a brand new team. Ever since, especially during this style of college football, guys getting opportunities, especially here. I'm very excited.
Which is a compliment to your staff.
No, they've done a great job. Our staff has done a great job, and then the players have bought in. I give credit to our players so much because they have to believe in what we're talking about and doing. They have to believe in our culture and believe in us as, hey, if you do this way, you would get this type of opportunity. You would get this type of not just winning, but other opportunities that might come along with it. At the end of the day, our goal is still to get you here, grow you as a person, as a man, graduate, and continue to grow. But if other opportunities happen while we're getting to that point, that's part of it as well. But it's yes, ever since I got here, we have you can look at the depth chart and the different rosters that we've had. And we still have standards that we're trying to uphold, and some of the younger guys that are young, they have to step up now because they have a big.
Are they stepping up as leaders?
Yes, they are. Yeah, and it's not done. That's what training camp is for.
That's what's coming up.
That's
soon now.
This Friday, and so this summer has been big for us. But the guys that have been here, they might not have a big role, but now they might have a bigger role now. They have to step up, and this thing is player-led. That's what I push of player leadership. Put our guys in situations and practice, and how we do things off the field, even here. So now, when we get out on the field, they're used to it.
They're gelling.
Because I'm not on the field. I can't play for him. I can't, get out there and catch the ball.
Your dad wants
Yeah,
to.
I know.
Yeah, he does want
He
to.
pretty much is on the field.
I'm gonna look at the camera for that one. He does.
Yeah, he's pretty much on the field more than I am. But yeah, that's just, we tell the guys that they have to be able to find a way and figure things out. But you have to put them in position before they get there to do so.
And then they're ready to go without thinking about it.
So not like teaching them how to hold each other accountable, understanding that it's nothing personal, that it's a standard that we're trying to uphold. Talking with them body language.
Man, I love talking
how
to
they
you.
how they take body. So I'm big on no palms up. We don't do palms up. That's look like you're confused or you don't understand. No. Make sure your hands are down.
I like that.
Confirm and look at someone in the eyes when they're talking to you.
Confidence.
It's part of it. So now, once you get out there and the guy doesn't do what he has to do, he's getting held accountable. He's receiving it the right way. The person that's giving it to him is expressing himself and holding the standard a particular way that's still respectful. We're going to hold you. We're going to demand and not demean. So we're going to demand, but we're going to make sure we're not demeaning you in no
That's
way.
a really good point.
And we're going to keep it rolling
And be ready to go to the next play. Like you're gonna make mistakes. Shake that off. Know what you did, and get ready for.
How you going to transition? You can't be
That's the
worried
biggest
about.
thing, probably, isn't that something?
That's one of them. Yes, it definitely is because there's some guys that just can't get over it.
Yeah.
They're still stuck
In
on
their head.
And there's certain positions you better get over it very quickly. And one of them is corner. Our defense does a great job of getting after quarterback and stopping the run.
Shake it off and be ready.
Those corners going to be out there on the island sometimes by themselves, and they might give up something, might give up a big play, but how are they going to respond? And that's the thing that we talk about. How are you going to respond through adversity?
I love that.
And as a program.
So, any key players, any key positions you want us to look for this year? Anything? Or is it?
It's all of them.
It's all. No, I didn't mean like. You know what I mean? No, is there?
I would say
something you're like, hey, this is something that we may have a little special.
Yeah. So I'm always excited. What's part of our program? We want to run the football. We want to stop the run. And I think that's the main piece of it. Within that, our offense has done a great job of still doing that while still being balanced. And, we have some pieces on the outside that allow us to do that.
Healthy line?
Yeah. But it starts at the line of scrimmage so far. Well, both sides of the ball. In order to do what we're talking about, you have to have that line of scrimmage to do so. So, I give so much credit to our offensive coordinator, Coach Knockin, and our defensive coordinator, Coach Davila. They're the piece that keeps this thing rolling. Yeah, man. And one thing I love about them, they align with everything that I want to happen, and then they do their own.
So do you call any?
No. Yeah. So the OC and DC, they do a great job. I evaluate certain things that I might want to see. Then I work with them that, hey, I want to see this, or I want to, look into this. Maybe if a specific player, can we switch his position? Maybe he can do a better job here. But I let those guys do their thing, and then I'll just look at the bigger picture, kind of, step back and see
more the macro.
And also the trying to make sure what we're trying to instill in our players is being showcased out on the field within what we do as a program in terms of offensively or defensively. Yeah, so at the end of the day, it starts with our offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and even our special teams coordinator. So offensively, Coach Knockin does a great job of understanding what we're trying to do as a program. Being physical, being able to run the football, but still being able to put the ball in the perimeter and give our guys opportunities. Defensively, we have a lot of guys that get off after the quarterback. Coach,
I love that they swarm to the ball all the time. I will say that is well taught.
So Coach definitely does a great job of putting those guys in the position, but we still have to stop the run first. And then that allows us to do a lot of different things. Out. Especially we have a really good defensive back group that's coming back. So being able to put those guys in position, might going different personnels to get more of those guys out there. That helps a lot for us. And then special teams is very important. A lot of people don't talk. They underestimate.
Even players do.
Exactly. And so we try to put that in our players' mind. Hey, man, you have to play
You set
special
the
teams.
tone.
You set the tone. So Coach Kelleher is our special teams coordinator. He does a great job of getting those guys in position. And you have to, it's a want to. And one thing about special teams, it's football, man. We have offensive guys that might have to run down and tackle. So you might not have to tackle a lot offensively, but you on special teams, you better find a
Put that
way.
shoulder
Yeah,
pad.
yeah, yeah. So that's why I love it. That's why going back to our recruiting, we need good football players that have a mentality that aligns with what we're looking
It's
for.
just not
Because
a good
yeah,
athlete.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. So
all
yeah,
about that.
it's all of it. And it's a want to that come along
So,
with.
and I'm sure you invite, like, I'm inviting some kids in my neighborhood. We were talking about this. I'm in Seminole, Wellington area, and they need to come out and see what they're getting
Yes,
into
yeah,
too.
yeah,
They need
yeah.
to see the sideline, see what's going on.
Yeah, so going back to that point, if you look at our past recruiting class, pretty much every one of those guys have came to a game or have been on a visit multiple times, and that's very important. So they can know, understand what they're getting themselves into, and we can do our homework as well to make sure that they align with our program. So I think that's very important. A lot of guys don't really understand the type of athletes and type of play that we have here. So I get that a lot when the recruits come out here and watch the game and like, Coach, I didn't know you guys were this big and this fast and different things like that. I think it's good for them so they
No,
can
when they
see.
come out there,
Yeah,
people
yeah,
are a little bit surprised
yeah,
on what
yeah,
they're getting
yeah.
at.
So it's and that's why I try to tell everybody, come out and give us a shot to see what we have. And I think we play some really good football here. We're not just rolling the ball out. I think our guys are very disciplined and detail
Second
oriented
half
as
teams, though,
well.
there were some games last year you could
Yeah,
have easily put your head
yeah,
down
yeah,
and
yeah,
said, "Let's wait,"
yeah.
and they
So
did not.
yeah, so that goes back to what we were talking about before of like it's more than Jimmy's and Joe's.
That's right.
It's things that come along with it in terms of a mentality and the culture that you have set for yourself. And one thing I love about here is the alignment, just from top bottom. Start with our president, and going all the way down to our AD, Swagger, and back to our president, Dr. Vonk, who is no longer with us, but he's such a blessing for our program because it's not a coincidence that we can do
We were
what
all
we can
bought
do.
in,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. So we're all bought in, and I think it helps. It helps, and that's what we talk about as a team, making sure we're aligned and we have a set plan that we're going to try to
Yeah.
execute, and we're going to stay to the
And it
plan.
extends too. Like I know we're talking football right now, but and Swagger will love this, even though I never like saying anything nice about him. But I mean, you've done a really good job with our other athletics
Yeah,
too. Like we do have a tradition here
yeah,
that's pretty exciting.
yeah.
Swimming, tennis,
The whole deal.
lacrosse, soccer. I mean, all
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
It is pretty
They
exciting
have
to be
set,
at this
yeah,
school
yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah. No, it's they have set the standard, and once
And
I
the
got,
bar is high.
yeah, the bar is
It's not
high.
low.
The bar, hey, trust me, if anybody knows me, so I get it, understand it. When we first got here, when we first got the job, they told us that, and then I get the
You
job right
get to the
after,
ring
yeah,
every
yeah, right,
year.
right after we win the national championship. We lose a lot of these coaches and players. Hey, here you
New
go,
season.
Miles. Yeah,
We're in week one, and we're all like, "How we looking?" So let's
so
talk about that. You
yeah,
got some preseason games coming
yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah. We got
I
training
call them
camp. Yeah,
preseason, but you know what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah. So we start training camp, and then by our first regular season game is against Anderson University. It's a Division II program, really good program in South Carolina.
Love it.
Very excited. I think we talked before. I love playing those Division II teams to continue legitimize the program.
You can see some weakness
Yeah, yeah,
too.
yeah. I want to know.
That game's not a
Yeah,
win. That
no,
game's to
man, no,
discover
dude.
what you don't
Yeah,
know.
we have to understand what we have and don't have a. I don't definitely don't want a false sense of reality. Because sometimes you can not play a team not as good, and you might get a false sense of reality. But I really want to know what our team is all about. Right
What
out the
card,
gate.
what
Yeah,
deck do
yeah,
you have to
yeah,
work
right,
with
right
this
out the
year?
gate. So, our first two games, we're on the road and we're going. So the Division II team, Anderson University. Then the next week, we go to Bethel out in Tennessee.
Yeah,
That's a really good program.
they
And
run a good squad up
yeah,
there
no,
too.
they do.
Bethel's been around. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I'm really excited. That's going to get us going, and then finally we can get back home and
How do you feel on the front end of the schedule? You feel like it's good?
man, it's I can tell you this. I go one week at a time. Like
Only
I'm not,
that.
yeah, I'm not even gonna bull crap with you. Like, I really don't even look at it. I really don't, because that's how you get caught.
Let me get my scout ready.
Yeah,
Let's just worry about this week.
I'll worry about this week, and I know that's coach's talk, but it's really like I
No, I
almost
get it.
overemphasize
But
it.
you're not one to change everything every Sunday either. And you know
No,
what
we
I'm
do
talking
the
about.
exact same thing.
You've got a certain way of doing it. It's structured and it either works or it
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah.
But you stick to the
Yeah,
plan.
and I think it helps us as we go throughout the year because we coach the same way if we win or lose.
Yep.
And I think that's very important. And honestly, we've been blessed enough to win a lot here, but we
That
just
can
don't
be
take
tough for you guys though too.
Yeah,
Some of
no.
these seasons we start rolling.
Yeah,
It's tough.
yeah. But you look at yourself enough, and you put a microscope on yourself, you will understand the things that you still need to get better at.
Because being challenged is good.
We're chasing perfection, and we haven't been perfect yet. And I'm going to continue to, and that starts with me. I start to,
You're never satisfied.
no, I started standing with that. And again, I give our coaches a lot of credit because they're aligning with, how we do things. But when I watch the film, we're looking at every little detail, and then we're going to hold these young men accountable. And we're going to set the bar where we want it to look like, and everybody knows exactly where it should look like. And if it's not looking that way, specifically, you're going to get called out.
And you're the head ball coach.
Yeah,
We've talked about this when we went to lunch. And it's not a friend thing.
Yeah, no.
We're here for business, and we've got a job to do, each one of us.
Yeah, and I would say it's not a friend thing, but it's a relationship thing.
Right.
And I have a relationship with all of our guys, and our coaches do as well. And I feel like that's part of it, because you can't get on a young man and get on them and demand all this if you don't have a relationship with them.
2 years in the semis, I got a great picture of you. Not last year, but the year before that. And it's one we won right at the end.
Okay.
He dropped one in the corner.
Yeah.
You're on your knees, just exhausted. But I mean, your players see that in you.
No.
You know what I mean? Like it's a give and take.
No, it really is. And again, but it's a relationship. They understand the relationship that we have, and that relationship, helps us in the games. But that's why we in this thing.
Things get tough, and you're in a foxhole. You need that.
And I'm kind of weird with that, because like when we're in that foxhole and we go down, I start smiling. Like that's because I can't wait to see how our kids respond.
Daddy don't be smiling.
Yeah, I know. He doesn't.
I'm just thinking about that because we were the championship.
Yeah. Oh man, he don't be smiling. But I tell our kids that I want them to want that. Trying to take that next step to get over that. Yeah. Just like, hey, things are not going our way. Now, how are we going to respond?
That's right.
And that's the same thing. One thing we do, we throw our forwards up in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And it's an excitement and an intent to it. It doesn't matter if we're up 10, down 10. It doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter. We better have the same intent and the same energy with the fourth quarters up, and I think that's part of it. And we do it in practice.
Right?
Yeah. So we do it in practice. We throw the fours up in practice, and we practice it. We might throw the fours up when we're doing conditioning.
Yeah.
And they better have the same mentality.
That extra gear that they got to put into.
Yes. And it's a want to, and I want to see if you're selfish or not. And I compare it. Like some guys, they just worried about themselves because they're tired. They're not holding the standard that they need to hold for the entire team.
The difference between success and failure.
Yeah,
that right there.
Yes. So being able to see that, I want to see how guys respond to that, and we're a team.
Look at that. I can't stop. You guys can't see it over there, but he's got a picture of his family. So every once in a while, I'm catching out a corner of my eye, and I'm going to watch that. You got a beautiful family. Man.
I'm blessed.
Beautiful family.
I want to say, real quick, with my family, I've been blessed. My mom and dad, they come to every game. Gregory and Vicky Russ, they've done a great job of just, being everything for me. And then, my wife that I met at Robert Moore's, I was the football player. She was the cheerleader.
Of course.
Yeah, of course, right? Of course. But she's been such a blessing, and, it's tough.
She go, man, you blocked.
Yeah. Exactly. So, she's the rock of our household, especially with the coach's wife. It's a special place in heaven for them.
You got to have a special woman for that.
You really do, and
especially now, right now.
I know. Oh my God! Then I had two beautiful girls, Avery and Audrey. That it's a blessing for me because I need it. I'm very hard to
Balance
be.
you out.
It balances me.
Daddy's girls.
Yeah, to a certain extent. The oldest, Avery, yes. The youngest, she's tough. She's like mama, man. She's tough, boy. She's gonna be
I
the
love
toughest
it.
one out there, Audrey. And but no, it's been so good. The balance that I need. Also these guys, staying on them. But when I go home, man, they run up to me and
And then that purpose
yeah,
comes
yeah,
right
it
in.
comes right in. Even Audrey, the toughest one out of them all. She's
She
running up
breaking
to
down
me.
film with
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's like, Daddy,
Yeah.
what are you doing
So I
here?
will say, man, my oldest, she's been spoiled and she gets on me all the time. She always reminds me we didn't win that last game. We won every game before then, but we didn't win that last game.
Thanks for that
So,
Sunday morning conversation.
so she's been spoiled. Us, pretty much being undefeated to the national championship game these past 2 years. So she reminds me. So to everybody,
They played to the whistle, though, even last year, that
no,
championship game.
they do.
Played to the last whistle.
And that's one thing that I'm so proud of our guys that you can still see, what we've been trying to work for in terms of like the character and the standard that we try
Well,
to.
just so you know, as a fan too, you feel that when you watch the game. You can
Yeah,
tell. You can tell when it's not there,
Yeah.
and you can tell when it's there.
Thank you.
So it's
Thank
really
you.
good to see. I got one more question.
Yeah.
We have a lot of business people that watch this. So real quick, and I know you have to deal with this when players come out flat, or your team
Yeah.
comes out flat, or it's a business thing too when they're flat. What are some things that you've learned to do to get them to get out of their head and that kind of monotone, or that's your voice, but that kind of mediocre, to get them hyped up? Is there some secrets to that?
I want to say it's a secret. When you do things the exact same way over and over, it should be that's part going back to having a certain standard.
Like that muscle memory of structure.
Yes, of structure. So I'm not saying it doesn't allow you to not have those moments, but it cuts it down. I feel like, but for me, if I do see, I have to evaluate: did we do something that not towards our routine? I gotta look at myself first, because I want to make sure it's not something that I switched up or did to put them in a position that they're not responding the way they should respond.
Interesting.
And then
So it starts with you first.
oh yeah,
Always.
I look at the mirror first. And I want to always. I'm very transparent with this. I go back to our first national championship game that we ever played in under me 2 years ago. I put that one on me because I had
It was cold.
Yeah, yeah.
That thing was
But
cold.
I misjudged where we were at as a team after that semifinal win. That was very emotional. And we were able
That's the game I'm talking about.
Yes, yes.
That took a lot out of people. That
Yes,
game was
yes. And so I misjudged how we would respond from that.
interesting.
And I really
Was that a week apart?
Yeah,
That
it
was
was a week apart.
too.
So so I thought we were at a certain level then that we won. I misjudged it. I looked at myself, and it started with me of why they came out flat and wasn't where they needed to be because the emotional level they had last week, was very high. So I learned the race the week before, trying to have a true identity. I switched some things up that next week for that national championship game. I look back at myself. I should never did that. I should have continued to be consistent. What we were doing throughout the whole year, but it started with myself. And so when we finally got back, I felt like we were a lot better than last. Obviously, we didn't get the result that we wanted the next year, but I really felt that our kids were most prepared and ready to go.
They had a different vigor.
Yeah.
Even though they outplayed.
And it kind of goes back to what we teach as well. In terms of we're trying to build what's going on and not be solely just focused on the result of things.
It's the activities. Result follows.
Yeah. So one thing that we say is process over results. To make sure that the process of how we get in there, what we're doing, as clean as possible, and then we'll hopefully get the results that we want, but not getting too focused on the results. And focus more on the process of how we get to it.
That's a good message for everybody. I mean, it's not even athletics; it's business and everything. But that's structure. All right, I got nothing else. You got anything else before they start seeing you on the sidelines?
Yeah,
that guy holding you
No, I'm blessed to be here and be a part of this Keiser University. Just as a whole, and I'm really excited to see you guys out. these upcoming Saturdays, and hopefully we can show you guys as much of what we've been preparing as possible, and look forward for this upcoming season.
Do yourself a favor, come out. And I'll tell you, we got an added thing this year. Robert's not here. Robert Keiser's not here, but we're going to pregame. Robert and I are actually going to be filming live, and then we'll show it as a tape later. But we're actually going to be filming live in the corner right before the game. So we're going to have a pregame show.
Yeah, I love it.
And we're going to be talking and stuff like that. So be looking for us. We're going to have a lot of fun. That's the show. Roll the outtake.